Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sat forward in her seat, elbows on the long wooden table, a single folder in front of her that looked too thin to carry the weight she was about to drop. The House Oversight hearing chamber was packed, restless staffers, tight-lipped aides, and a gallery full of people who knew they might watch someone's mask slip in real time. Across from her sat Jack Conway, former Kentucky Attorney General, now the star prosecutor in one of Donald Trump's drawn-out legal battles. He wore an expensive navy suit, a tie just crooked enough to look human, but the way he leaned back said he still believed the room was his to control. The chair recognized Jasmine. She didn't waste a second. Her voice came out calm, clipped, each word pressed flat like a knife laid gently on the table. She said, "Mr. Conway, you've testified under oath that your prosecution is not politically motivated. Is that correct?" Conway gave her a thin smile, his hands folded like a man posing for a portrait. He said, "Congresswoman Crockett, that's absolutely correct." She tilted her head, not blinking, her pen tapping the folder once. She said, "You're under oath right now. You understand that, correct?" Conway's jaw twitched, but his smile held. He said, "Yes, ma'am." The hush in the chamber thickened. A few aides shifted in their seats. Someone's phone vibrated on silent against the wood. Jasmine flipped the folder open. Her tone stayed soft, softer than the hum of the cameras catching every angle. She said, "Mr. Conway, are you aware I have your private communications with donors right here?" Conway's shoulders stiffened, just enough for the gallery to catch it. Jasmine didn't move, didn't raise her voice. She said, "Are you aware that one of those donors explicitly promised you campaign cash in exchange for targeting a political opponent?" Conway cleared his throat, his smile cracking around the edges. He said, "Congresswoman, I have no idea what you're referring to." She turned one page. The rustle echoed under the hush. She said, "December 12th, 2023, you email the PAC director. I quote, 'We need to ensure this indictment lands before the primaries. Timing is critical for the messaging.' Is that your email, sir?" Conway's eyes flicked to the chairman, then back to Jasmine. He said, "That's being taken out of context." The audience murmured, low, sharp, the sound of people realizing they'd come for a show and were getting the real thing. Jasmine's tone got quieter. The hush made it land harder. She said, "The context is you're being paid to lie, Mr. Conway." Conway's jaw clenched. "I object." Jasmine leaned forward so far the microphone caught every word. She said, "You don't get to object here. This is my time." The room sat frozen. No one coughed. No one looked away. She said, "You've painted yourself as a public servant, a defender of the law. But your own words show you're a hired gun for a political machine." Conway's smile was gone now, just the tap of his wedding band against the table, trying to anchor him to a story that was slipping away in real time. Jasmine tapped the folder again, eyes locked. She said, "You're paid to lie. And America deserves to see that before you ever set foot in a courtroom again." Jack Conway shifted in his chair, the leather creaking loud enough for the front row to catch how tight his shoulders had gone. He tried to find his grin again, but Jasmine's stare pinned it down before it could reach his mouth. He cleared his throat, voice thinner now. He said, "Congresswoman Crockett, that's a gross misrepresentation. Prosecutors coordinate timelines all the time." Jasmine didn't blink. She said, "Not at the behest of donors with direct political stakes. Do you deny that your campaign took contributions from PACs tied to your lead witnesses?" Conway's jaw flexed. He said, "That's not illegal." Jasmine's pen tapped the folder once, a soft pop that hit the hush like a drum. She said, "What does that tell the American people about your integrity, Mr. Conway?" He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Jasmine leaned back, her chair not squeaking once. Her voice dropped to that soft register that always landed sharper than a shout. She said, "You sit there claiming you're serving justice while your friends serve you fat checks to drag your target through the mud before an election." The gallery shifted, Someone in the back whispered, but the chair's gavel didn't come down. The whole room was leaning in. Conway's hands folded tighter, knuckles widening. He said, "These are allegations." Jasmine cut him off, each word sharp but quiet. "No, sir. This is your record. This is your signature. This is your political handler promising the check clears when the indictment drops." Conway's face flushed red, his collar suddenly too tight. He said, "I stand by my work." Jasmine's eyes narrowed, a single line of steel. "You stand by your paycheck." He tried to push back. His voice rose, cracking on the edges. "You're insulting every honest prosecutor in this country." She didn't move. She didn't flinch. She said, "Honest prosecutors don't coordinate press leaks with party operatives." He stammered, "Leaks happen." She dropped the pen, her hands folded just like his, a perfect mirror that made him look smaller. She said, "Not by accident. Not when it's the same donors boosting the same headlines." Someone in the gallery gasped. That single breath you hear when people realize the room is never going back to normal. Conway's voice fell to a whisper, the fight slipping out under the weight of every camera lens catching every tick. "You're twisting." Jasmine's tone dropped even lower. "You're the twist, Mr. Conway, and you're paid for it." She turned the folder so the page faced the committee, her finger tapping the donor email once. "The people see you now. Not the suit. Not the headlines. Just the check and the lie." Conway's eyes flicked to the exit for a beat, like he'd walk out if he could find a door wide enough to hide behind. Jasmine's last line hit like a gavel nobody needed to swing. "And you'll carry that lie every time you swear you stand for justice." Jack Conway's hand hovered over the mic like he might try to salvage something. A line, an excuse, a scrap of the story he'd rehearsed before the lights hit. But Jasmine didn't give him the space. She leaned forward again, elbows locked, her voice flat enough to echo. She said, "Let me ask you one last time, Mr. Conway. Under oath, did you coordinate with any political party leaders about the timing of this indictment?" Conway's lips parted, the word caught in his throat. He said, I coordinate with staff as needed, not party leaders." Jasmine's smile was small, the kind that never reached her eyes. "So you're saying that PAC money with party ties just shows up for nothing?" Conway's eyes darted to the committee chair, but no rescue came. The hush was too thick now, every camera catching the sweat on his collar. He tried to stand his ground. "I do my job. I follow the evidence." Jasmine's tone dropped to a whisper that forced the whole room to lean in. "You follow the money." The gallery murmured, low, shocked, the sound of people realizing the spin had finally run out of room. Conway's voice cracked, too soft to carry the lie. "This is political theater." Jasmine didn't blink. She didn't raise her voice. She said, "No, this is sunlight, and it burns." She closed the folder, the snap of the paper sharp enough to make the room flinch. "Your donor files are public now. Your emails are on the record, and every person watching at home knows the truth." Conway shifted, hands trembling against the edge of the desk. "I have done nothing illegal." Jasmine's jaw tightened, that quiet heat that made her words land heavier than any gavel. "Legal isn't the same as honest." The committee chair tried to step in, but Jasmine didn't move. Her eyes stayed on Conway like she'd pinned him to the table with nothing but the truth. She said, "You can walk out of here today in your nice suit with your fancy tie, but you can't scrub your name off what you did. That stain sticks." The room fell silent. No coughs, no whispers, just the hum of cameras catching the final shot of a man realizing the spotlight doesn't care who wrote the script. Conway stood, half-bowed, his mouth opening like he might fight back, but the hush swallowed every word he thought he had left. Jasmine leaned back, voice soft enough to sound like mercy, but it wasn't. "You're dismissed, Mr. Conway." He stepped away from the table, the floor swallowing his footsteps. The door closed behind him like a quiet verdict nobody needed to say out loud. By the next morning, the clip was everywhere. "Jasmine Crockett humiliates prosecutor. You're paid to lie," in bold type across every feed. Jasmine didn't tweet. She didn't brag. She didn't spin it. She didn't have to. Some people wear power like a suit. Some people tear it off with nothing but the truth.